very happy Easter to you, to your family, friends, and like I said, welcome to any visitors who are joining us today. This might shock you. As a little kid, wasn't a big fan of church, believe it or not. Especially wasn't a big fan of church early in the morning on Easter morning when I have candy to attend to. And when I'd come to Mass, we'd go every week. When we'd read the stories from the Scriptures, it kind of felt like the Bible was, in my head, at least my 7-year-old head, it was like a fairy tale or, a bedtime story. And when I throw out bedtime stories to you, Red Riding Hood, Hansel and Gretel, Cinderella, you probably think to yourself, those are nice. Might be kind of interesting, maybe. Maybe have something to teach me, but in the end of the day, they're just stories. Roll over and go to sleep. Well, that's how I thought about Scripture, the Bible. Noah's Ark, Jonah and the whale, baby Jesus being born on Christmas. Jesus, he dies, but he comes back to life. It's nice. It's kind of interesting. Maybe something to teach me, but I'm going to go home and enjoy my candy, I guess. Okay, what we're celebrating today is not just a nice story. This isn't a fairy tale. This isn't once upon a time in a land far, far away, in a galaxy far, far away, for those of you sci-fi people. This is the celebration of celebrations. Today, Easter, is literally what makes us Christian. Without today, without what we are celebrating, none of this makes sense. None of this, none of this, none of this, none of this makes sense. St. Paul says, if Christ was not raised, what we're celebrating today, Easter, if Christ was not raised, we are wasting our lives. That's a pretty bold statement from someone who ends up giving his life for Christianity. So first of all, this is not a fairy tale. I just tell you this actually happened. What you just heard actually took place. This is a historical event. It's not just a historical event, but it sure as heck is a historical event. You can actually go to the place where this took place. For those of you that have been to the Holy Land, did you know, we're talking about this tomb, this cave in the rock, did you know you can go there? You can literally sit inside the empty tomb that Jesus rose from. Okay, spoiler alert, it's empty. He's not still in there. They built a church over it. It's called the Holy Sepulchre. I can find it for you on a map. It took place at an actual location. And it took place at an actual time. And actually, they're pretty specific about it. We have the year, roughly 33 AD, give or take. And we know that. Why? Because of the people that are listed. We have Caesar, Pontius Pilate, Herod. All of these people are real people. If I told you, all right, I'm going to meet you on the corner of Pilot Knob and Diffley, and it's going to be, the first day of the week, Sunday, and it's when King Charles III was reigning as monarch in England. Okay, that brings you to a 3-year span. You know exactly where I'm talking about because many of you drove by it this morning, and you know what day of the week that is. This took place. Don't let anybody tell you that this is a myth or this is imagery or that, no. This took place. And further, what do we see? Now, in Genesis, you got to go all the way back. You got to go back to the beginning of the Bible. When God creates the earth, you have on the first day, second day, third day, all the way to the 6th day, what is God doing? He's making the earth. He's preparing it for us. And then on the 7th day, he rests. The 7th day is Saturday. So now what do we see Jesus, who's God himself? You ready for this? Hopefully you remember what I just said. On the first day of the week, he starts in Palm Sunday, he comes into Jerusalem, and then throughout that entire week, what is God doing? The Last Supper, the Eucharist, washing the feet, dying on the cross. For 6 days, he is preparing. On the 7th day, Saturday, what was God doing? Resting in the tomb. But what happens on that first day of the week when creation begins once again? We're not created, we are recreated. He makes us new, actually better than we were before. This is a real event that happened to real people at a real place. Now, it's not just a historical event. When you read, oh my gosh, it gets me going. This passage is so good, so good. The gospel is so good. I mean, look at this tomb, okay? We talked about it's like a cave in the rock. This thing is locked down like nobody's business. They sent the Roman version of the Secret Service, a guard, couple guards, to watch that tomb. These were one of the highest trained people in Rome. You're not going to mess with one of these people who is guarding this tomb. So it's locked. Secondly, I think we think about the stone. We think of like a little pebble or something, or maybe a little snowball or something. No. They estimate that stone, that large boulder that was in front of his tomb, you ready for this? Estimated to be between 1.5 and 2 tons. That's approximately 3,000 to 4,000 pounds. It wasn't like Joe Blow's going to come and, I want to see what's in there. Open the door. No. That would take a feat to do that. That's not going to be done by a normal man. And then as they get to the tomb, one of the other gospel writers accounts that there was an earthquake. I've never lived through an earthquake, but for those that have, I would be scared to death. Like, when I wake up in the morning, there aren't many things that I'm like, okay, this is going to happen today. I don't know what the weather's going to look like. Don't know what Father Tony's going to make for dinner. I have no idea. What I do know is that the ground is going to be there, and I'm going to be able to walk on it. When I get to the tomb, all of a sudden, the one thing that should be there starts shaking. There's something at the core of who they are that is being shaken. That tomb should have been locked. And all of a sudden, the ground is shaking. And then we have an angel that appears. Now, again, we hear angel in 2026, and we think of, like a nice little baby with a harp from Hobby Lobby or something. Okay, no, that is not what we mean by angel. I always tell the kids at the school, I'm like, the dumbest and weakest angel that you can imagine. That angel is like hundreds times smarter and stronger than the best human being. Like, they are way beyond us. And there's a reason why every single time you see an angel talked about in the scriptures, what's the first thing they say to people? Don't be afraid. If we could see angels, all the angels that are packed in this room, we'd be like, be scary. So you have to imagine when they're coming up to this tomb, they're like, wait, what? He's gone. He shouldn't be gone. The Secret Service was watching that. There's a 1 trillion-pound rock in front of it. The earth is shaking. This creature from heaven came down. And then finally, the last detail here, I promise. They make a big deal in this passage from John about the linens, the things that Jesus was wrapped in. Okay, so for those that don't know the history here, the Jewish people, Jesus was Jewish, they would wrap the bodies of the dead very elaborately and in linen. Side note, what do you think this is made of? Linen. There's a reason why we use linens during Mass, because that's what the body of Jesus was wrapped in. But his body's wrapped in these expensive linens. And so usually, when people would break into a tomb, it would take a lot of effort, but people could do it. They would actually go in and steal the linens because those were worth money. They'd leave the body. They're like, whatever. I want the linens. Exchange it for cash. And so when they went in there and the linens are just sitting there, folded. I mean, I'm no thief, but if I was and I was trying to steal a body, probably wouldn't fold the linens. But anyways, I just have to tell you, all of these things are so important to what we believe. Easter is central. This is not a fairy tale. This isn't just a nice story. This isn't just a historical event about some nice guy that we like to think about occasionally. What happens today literally changes everything. It goes beyond this world, beyond time, beyond any of the powers or darkness of today. This, my brothers and sisters, is the moment when God definitively won. The battle's over. God has won. When he rose from the dead, God beat evil. It's over. Game over. Now, you've probably heard the statement, there is a battle going on today. Yes, there is. But the battle isn't between God and evil. We're not sitting here biting our nails being like, oh, is God going to win? Yeah, he's won. The battle today is for you and for me. What side are you going to take? Are you going to take the winning side with your life? Or are you going to take the losing side? What does the winning side look like? It looks like a life so close to Jesus that you are riding his coattails to heaven. A life of, you ready for this word? Daily prayer. Weekly mass. Regular confession. Loving and forgiving your family, your friends, and yes, even your enemies. Serving the poor and those most in need. That's what a life on the winning side looks like. And so my brothers and sisters, today, Easter, it makes all the sense in the world for those who believe in Jesus. Today is what makes us Christians. Let's live it.